All right, guys, it's week 5. We're going to be talking about the Sunday slate. Don't forget, we have an early game at 9:30 in London. It's the Jets versus the Minnesota Vikings. Should be a great early game. We don't need to break down that game. We already did on our fantasy football show. But we have 6 picks for you. We're really excited about these picks. I might try to go somewhat quick because I just don't want any of these to get bumped while we're on here. But if you're new to the channel, this is our picks show, Backdoor Fantasy Sports, Russo and Jordy. And we also have a fantasy football podcast. So definitely check that out as well if you play fantasy football. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give us a like. Just hook us up with a like, guys. Come on. It's not asking too much. Just press a button. But we do appreciate the support. And if you have any fantasy football questions or props questions, just drop a comment and we will get back to you for sure. We get back to everybody. So before we break into our picks, if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, use code BACKDOOR and they're going to give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick to help you cash your first slip. You can either use the code BACKDOOR or go through the link in the description and they will hook you up. And then they also are running specials every day through the month of October. Right now, they've actually got like I just noticed a 31% boost that I'm going to be adding probably to this slip in particular. I might add these with a few more and see, but I think I really like what we've got going here. So I'm probably going to throw that boost on there today. And then we're also on Sleeper, where we've partnered with Underdog and Sleeper. So if you haven't diversified the platforms you're playing on, Sleeper Picks is a great option, especially if you play fantasy football. The way they've integrated it into the fantasy football platform is awesome. Just use code BACKDOORFS. Just add the FS on the end there for Sleeper, and they're going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100 just for signing up. So let's talk about these plays. I'm going to be going with Jayden Reed over 69.5 receiving yards. I'm getting this on Prize Picks and Underdog. Some of these are actually cheaper on Underdog. I'll get into all that, but yeah, so Jayden Reed over 69.5 receiving yards. Brian Thomas Jr., I'm going with over 57.5 receiving yards. And then I like Justice Hill rushing and receiving yards at 38.5. I'm taking all 3 of those for more. What are you getting into, Jordy?
Yeah, I'm taking Darius Slayton for over 3.5 receptions. Getting that on both platforms. Taking Deontay Johnson for over 5 receptions on Prize Picks. It's at 5.5 on Underdog, so we're getting a really sweet deal on that. For Deontay there on Prize Picks. And then Jalen Waddle, I'm taking him for over 36.5 receiving yards on Prize Picks, and we're actually getting the discount on Underdog for this one at 34.5. So really liking these plays here today.
Sweet. Excuse me 1 second, I just had to fix something real fast.
No problem.
All right, I am good to go. Okay, man, I'm so excited about this slate, especially with football starting early. But let's jump right into these plays. I got to talk about this Jayden Reed play. This is the one I was worried might move on me. I don't understand why it's only at 69.5. I was looking at his rushing and receiving yards. I'll talk about that as a pivot because I love that too. But specifically for the video, I'm going with the receiving yards. It's crazy. Like, he's played 2 games with Jordan Love and he's gone for 138 in the first and 139 in the second. And they're sitting here giving us this line at 69.5. We also have, I'll confirm it for you guys, Romeo Doubs has been suspended for 1 game. They're just saying something about conduct detrimental to the team. The team is not even having him travel with them. So I don't know a whole lot about what's going on there, but I know I just heard some applause. But I know that he's out for this game. And then we also have Christian Watson, who is doubtful, unlikely to play, dealing with an ankle issue. So Dontavian Wicks for fantasy. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great for both of these guys here. But I love Jayden Reed, who's already established himself as the wide receiver 1 in such a killer offense. Up against wide receivers, this game is one we were targeting for fantasy. Jayden Reed's actually my wide receiver start of the week in our fantasy show. Let me find the specific over under here. 48.5 over under. This is the type of matchup that you want pieces of for fantasy and for DFS. Packers favored by 3. I feel like I could talk about this play all day. Haven't been this hyped about a play in a long time. The reason I ended up not going with his rushing and receiving combo is because, for one, like I still like it. I'm going to be throwing it into some slips. But in this last game, he had 2 yards rushing. The first game that he played with Jordan Love, he had 33 yards rushing and 138 receiving yards. I do love that combo. I think he's going to go over that line either way, and they've only bumped it up like 9 extra. But my thought process is that Sao Paulo, Brazil game was really weird with the turf and everything. And so I think it was like a little bit easier for them to scheme up some rushing plays for him. And it was hard for defenders to tackle guys. Like, everybody was struggling in that game because of that terrible grass they were playing on. And then the next game, we've got Malik Willis. He went for 37 rushing yards. So I kind of have a reason why, okay, maybe he went for 33 in the first game because of that weird grass situation. And then they were not getting the passing game going with Malik Willis. So he saw like a little bump in rushing yards in both of these games too. And then as soon as Jordan Love comes back, he gets 2 rushing yards and then has another nuclear receiving yards game. So for the video, I'm going with the receiving yards, but I'm going to be playing both of those, his rushing and receiving combo and his receiving alone. So the matchup, 25th in 25th in rushing yards allowed to wide receivers and 18th in receiving yards allowed. Let's see, jump over here to daily grind. So for his receiving yards at 69.5, they have this at favor to go over, just at a 50.79% odds to hit the over, -121. You can see FanDuel's already bumped this up to 71.5, DraftKings 70.5. So it's kind of like all over the place. I don't know how recently that news broke about Dobbs. I think it's been out for a little while, an hour ago. And then Watson hasn't officially been ruled out yet, but they're calling him doubtful. I don't think he plays. And if it does, he's on very limited snaps. So I think this is going to be a huge Jaden Reed game, huge Josh Jacobs game, and Dontavian Wicks, who is a stud we've been preaching about for like a year now. He's going to have a big game, in my opinion. And this defense is not going to be able to do much, but we do have that high over under 48.5. So I'm all over this play. I think I've said enough about that. Let's talk about Brian Thomas Jr. I love this receiving yards line. They kind of disrespect what he's capable of. He's been averaging in the mid 70s for snap share since he got on this team. So the question of like, is he going to slowly emerge into replacing Calvin Ridley's role, or is it something that's going to take a little bit of time? It looks like they wanted him to do that right away, getting a healthy snap share, and he's been like equaling targets with Christian Kirk right out of the gates. If we come down here and take a look at this target share, Christian Kirk at 23.8% target share. Brian Thomas is right down there at 21.3. Christian Kirk has 29 targets on the year. Brian Thomas has 26. And he looks, I mean, these two are working well together, and they don't, play the same position as far as like the type of receivers they are. So these guys can both eat. 62% pass rate for the Jags on the year. So I'm loving this play. We know that the last 2 games, Brian has been getting heavily consistent targets. They knew they had to get him involved. So yeah, back-to-back games with 9 targets. And then if we take a look at these 2 games here, Miami and Cleveland, when he only had 4 targets in each of those, he still was able to turn that into a pretty decent, 47 yards in game 1. I believe he had a touchdown in that game, and then 94 yards on 4 receptions against Cleveland. So I think he's going to get this done. He's got a juicy matchup, 23rd in receiving yards allowed. And then there was one other stat I was wanting to look at on here. I don't remember, but I love this play. I'm a huge fan of him. And let's take a look at the over under. Yeah, okay, so this game against the Colts, 46-point over under, Jags favored by 3. Anthony Richardson, it's kind of still up in the air, but it's looking like he is going to play. And I think he'll have a pretty decent outing because this is a perfect matchup for him to have a bounce back game. This defense is not particularly threatening. They do have some studs on defense who are super optimistic for the future, but overall, this defense cannot really stop teams and just shut them down. And so I like Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco to be able to keep this game competitive. We know that the Colts struggle against the pass as well. So they're playing in Jacksonville. I see no indication as to why Brian Thomas Jr. shouldn't have another great game. And so, yeah, loving this play. If we hop over here to Daily Grind, they disagree with me on this one. The optimizer has this at a 51.19% odds to hit the under. I don't see why. If you prefer, you can take the fantasy score. I think it's at like 12. Wouldn't be surprised if he's able to get into the end zone. But when they actually do get into the red zone, I mean, that might have been what I was going to mention. Yeah, as far as the red zone goes, they still like to, I think that's kind of why they got Gabe Davis. So he's had the most red zone targets, 25% of the red zone targets, Travis Etienne. And then you have Brian Thomas Jr. right there. So like, I like his fantasy score as well at 12, but I just think that the receiving yards are too low. Let me see, as far as actual, I think he's been averaging, sorry, I just had this up. I think he's averaging like 20, like 20-ish, 18 to 20. Yeah, average yards per reception. He's averaging 20.7 yards per reception. So, and that's because of this, big game here. But overall, he's a deep play guy. He could get this on 3 or 4 catches. So I love this play. I'm going to be taking it for more. But like I was saying, the optimizer does not agree, and it's because it's probably because Prize Picks has this higher than everybody at 57.5. That's not scaring me away. I think he's going to go well over this. I think we're going to see at least 70 yards in this game. I actually already bumped this up into a demon. I already have a slip with him with a receiving yards demon, because if you watch this kid play, he is that good. He's going to be special. So moving on to Justice Hill. We've got a lot of props on the board that I can't really make sense of. I don't think this is a trap. I think that he's going to be able to easily get this done. I don't understand why it's so low. Let's start with the over-under for this Ravens game. Here we go. 49-point over-under, Ravens favored by 2.5. I don't think it's going to be this close. They went and got their butts handed to them by the Washington Commanders at home. This Ravens team is for real. And I don't think they're going to be able to get a whole lot done, but we'll see. The Ravens are a pass funnel defense, very good against the run, but they're not great against the pass. And so even like that game against Dallas, we saw them blowing them out, and then Dallas was able to almost come back and tie that game up or win that game. So maybe I'm underestimating the Bengals, but because they do have a good passing attack. They've got killer wide receivers. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. So maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't think it's going to be within 3 points personally, but I like Justice Hill regardless, because he's a legitimate every week flex for fantasy, solid RB2 if you have to fill in on bye weeks and whatnot. But yeah, in this last game against Buffalo, he went for 78 receiving yards, 18 rushing yards. Game before that against Dallas, while they were leading, 21 receiving yards, 33 rush yards. So on 4 games, he's gone for at least 54. And then the game that he didn't get that done was against the Raiders, and he was still at 32. So there's just no reason why he can't get this done. The matchup is a little bit more difficult for receiving yards. The Bengals are 4th in receiving yards allowed to running backs, but 23rd in rushing yards allowed to running backs. This is going to be a massive game for Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. Like, I think the Ravens are just going to come in and do what they did last week. It's going to be a massive game for all the running options. But when it comes to actual targets for him, if we're talking about receptions, he's been getting heavily targeted in 50% of these games they've played so far. He had 8 targets in week 1, 6 targets last week, and he's really efficient with the way they use him. He went for 6 in that week 1, and then he went 6 of 6 against Buffalo. So I just can't make sense of this being so low. And I wanted to go ahead and take both, the rushing and receiving combined, because he's been pretty solid as a runner too. He just fits in perfect with Derrick Henry with this rushing attack. If we hop over here to Daily Grind on the DFS Optimizer, They've got this favored to go under too, 51.24% odds to hit the under at a -125. And you have to remember, like, we love this optimizer. We'll talk to you about how you can get a discount on this if you want to try it out. But it pays very close attention to like getting you the best bang for your buck. So it's noticing that Prize Picks has this favored to go over what the majority of other platforms are putting this line at. So it's going to tell you, that kind of influences the decision a little bit. So go with your gut. You know, if you don't like any of these plays, just fade them, take the under, do whatever you want, you know. But yeah, so -125. I just don't see it. He's such a steady part of what they're doing right now. I think he's a weekly starter for fantasy football. Speaking of the DFS optimizer from Daily Grind, this is a killer tool. We use it for every slip we make. So if you guys want to try this out, they're a partner of ours. All you have to do is use code BACKDOOR at dgfantasy.com. They'll hook you up with 25% off for as long as you want to stretch this out. We're about to get crazy with it for basketball coming up. So you can lock this in for a whole year if you want to, or just through football, just through basketball, however long you want to stretch that out. But you might as well take advantage of the 25% off because this thing will help you cash more often. And then if you guys want to check out Outlier, this is just the best statistical analysis app on the market, in my opinion. I love that I can go through all of these different categories and see the specifics about the history of the player, the matchups, the injury reports, the insights about the players. So for Outlier, they've also partnered up with us, and they're just going to let our viewers try this out free for a week, see how you like it. And it's perfect for football because you can just get a full week of football and see if this thing is helping you as much as it helps us. Just go through the link in the description. You don't need a code or anything. Just sign up through that link and you get a 7-day free trial. All right, Jordy, I'll pass it over to you, bro.
All right. So to get into mine here, I've got, let me make sure this is on the right thing. Sweet. So starting with mine, I've got Darius Slayton for over the 3.5 receptions. I feel really good about this line. I know he hasn't gone over it a single time this year, but he's been getting close. He's been getting three receptions per game, and now Malik Neighbors is out with a concussion, so his target share is going to go up a lot, and I don't think they've adjusted this line accordingly yet. You know, he had 5 targets in the last game. He's been getting about 4 targets per game, except for this game against Cleveland. He only had 2, but they were actually in the lead in that game. You know, coming into this game, this is going to be a really tough matchup. They're going to be down. Seattle is going to be just, I think, rolling the floor with these guys. I just think Seattle's that much better of a team. Maybe the Giants defense shows up and they make it a little bit competitive, but I think Darius Slayton's going to get 4 receptions, man. I mean, this is like, you know, his target share has only been 10% of the target share, but this is going to go up a lot. You can see here, he's still the 3rd most targeted person. Malik Neighbors is getting 38% of the targets. He's got 52 targets. The closest person to him is Wan'Dale Robinson, and then it's Slayton. So with no Malik Neighbors, Slayton is going to have to be involved. And Wan'Dale Robinson's receptions are set so high. If we look at them here, where are they at? They're set at 6. So I mean, even that is still a pretty good line, honestly. Like, I think both of these guys will probably clear those lines. But I think Darius Slayton's probably going to get at least 6 to 8 targets in this game. So I'm going to roll the dice on this one for sure. If you guys don't feel comfortable taking this one, you don't have to. I just think that Slayton is going to be a big part of it, and he's been there for a long time. So him and Daniel Jones do have that rapport built with each other already. You know, last year he was, like, I think the most targeted person on the team. Let's see here. It's saying Malik Neighbors played last year. That is not right. This isn't working right. But in 2023, I know he was definitely targeted a lot. You can see he was still getting over that 3.5 reception line just quite a bit. I mean, this is just a good game script for him to get over this, honestly. Like, that's my main reason for taking this, is Neighbors is out. So really liking this play. If we look at this on Daily Grind, they do have it juiced to go over just slightly. It's a 50.08% chance, so it's really like a 50-50. So it is a true 50-50, I think, but he'll definitely get the targets. It's whether or not he can snag in the receptions. So moving on to Deontay Johnson. I love this play. I don't know why this is at 5. I know the Bears have a good passing defense, but I mean, this dude is getting so many targets. Like, over the last couple games with you know, Andy Dalton at the helm, 14 targets, 13 targets. Diontae Johnson is the number one receiver on this team. You know, I think Xavier Legette is having like a coming out moment finally, but he's a great second option. It's not going to be, you know, he's not surpassing Diontae Johnson's. Like, he's always open. Diontae Johnson is a guy who, if you throw the ball to him in short yardage situation, he's going to catch it. So 5.5 receptions, 5 receptions. I'm taking this line over all day. I played this line last week, but they didn't have it out. I was looking for it, but he was questionable going into that game. Right before the game started on Sunday, I took this slip and he cashed it in the first half. He had 6 receptions in the first half. He had a quiet second half. I think he only had like 1 or 2 more receptions after that, but the dude is just really ball dominant. So loving this play. If you look at the target share, he is the number one targeted player, 39 targets to Xavier Legette's 20. So I'm taking this play all day long. If we look at this one on Daily Grind, it's a 68% chance to go over to -126. So loving this Diontae Johnson play. Moving on, I've got Jalen Waddle for over 36.5 receiving yards. I was on the receptions, but it's a very tight window. It is a really good matchup for receptions. 28th in receptions allowed. You know, he is the 3rd most targeted player, which is crazy because Devon Achane is just getting a ton of targets. So, you know, he's just 2 behind him. So it's really, really close between these 3 guys, but I'm actually going with the receiving yards. So if you like the receptions, you could take that, but I like the receiving yards just a little bit more. I know he hasn't hit it in the last 2 games. He was 1 yard off in the last game, but Jalen Waddle is the type of guy who on 1 catch can get this done. I mean, he's got that speed. He's got the big playmaking ability. They're 28th in receiving yards allowed. They're giving up 176.5 value per game. So really good matchup for him. Christian Gonzalez is probably going to be covering Tyreek Hill because he's the only guy fast enough to stay step for step with Tyreek. He's a really, really good defensive back for the Patriots, but I think Jalen Waddle is just going to have a wide open day. Honestly, I think this game, I think the Dolphins have to get this win. They just have to. So I think the receivers are going to be heavily involved. I think Tyreek's going to have a big bounce back game. I can't bring myself to take him in this matchup, but if you look at the 2 times that Jalen Waddle played the Patriots last year, he went for 86 receiving yards and 121 in both of the games they played them. He is dominant against the Patriots, and their defensive back situation has not gotten any better. It helps having Christian Gonzalez back for, you know, the number 1 guys, but these secondary receivers are absolutely lighting up the Patriots still. So I love this play. I think, you know, he got 5 targets in the last game, or 6 targets in the last game. That was with Tyler Huntley in that terrible game against Tennessee. Maybe this game is close, I don't know, but I think that he'll get well over this 36.5 line. And on Underdog, we're actually getting this at where is it at here? 34.5. So really big discount over there. Two receiving yards can mean the world sometimes. I mean, just look at the last game here where he missed it by 1 yard. He would have cashed that line. But it's crazy that they just bumped Diontae Johnson down to 5 receptions. People are taking the under on him. That is crazy. You couldn't pay me to take the under on Diontae Johnson, but if you guys aren't feeling that play, you don't have to take it. Obviously, that goes with all of these, but I love all 3 of these plays. I love all 6 of these plays, so that's going to do it for me. If you guys want to check out Chalkboard, they're a really fun Prize Picks style app where you can play daily fantasy / prop picks. It's a lot of fun. You can bump lines up and down. We call them the king of alt lines because it's the truth. Like, Diontae Johnson is one I'm probably going to go over there and bump up to like 6 or 7.5, just because I believe in like his ability to, you know, get that done. And they'll give you a higher multiplier on that play. So if I bumped him up to like 6.5 or 7.5, it's going to give me a 3 or like a 4x multiplier sometimes on those plays. So it's a lot of fun. You can definitely make a bunch of like YOLO style plays. Like Russo's always shooting for like those 137x style plays that are like, you know, if you hit one of those, that's insanity. But you can do that and put $1 on it, so you're really not risking a whole bunch there. Or if you want to do like 2 plays and get like a 10x on 2 plays, because I've done that before, and just, you know, throw a bag on it, you can do that and try to hit a monster 2-man. So it's a lot of fun. They also run like 6 specials a day. So whether that's like they'll give you the Jaden Reed at 69.5 receiving yards and they'll just bump it up to like a 2 or a 3x, or they'll give you a discounted play where they'll bring them down to like 49.5, and they'll just give you the same, like a 1x multiplier on it. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely go check them out. There's a link in the description for that, but if it doesn't auto-populate the code, just use code backdoor at checkout, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100, and they'll throw in a free play to help you cash your first slip. So it's a lot of fun over there. And that's going to do it for me today.
All right. I just had a couple notes. Also keep in mind, I love the Darius Slayton play. I'm throwing that in a bunch of lineups as well. Wan'Dale Robinson was dealing with a heel injury. He's cleared to play. He's going to play. He's going to be the wide receiver 1, but just know that like he was not at 100%. And when you're dealing with an injury that is on your feet that you have to run on, like I think he'll be good to go. But I love the Darius Slayton play. And then Deontay, it's ridiculous. Well, we don't know them yet, but we're partnered with Underdog, and some of our favorite analysts, Josh Norris and Hayden Winks. Their fantasy show is awesome. If you haven't checked them out, it's killer. It's probably my favorite. But anyways, when we were talking about Deontay Johnson last week at 5.5, they were making jokes about like, is this like a first half prop? Because this is once again this week, like, what are we doing here? Like, Deontay is always open, like Jordy was saying, but he's also one of the best pass catchers in the league. Like, if you watch these games, the types of catches that he shouldn't be able to catch, that he just reels them in. I'm all over this Deontay play. And then Jalen Waddle, 36.5 is so ridiculous to me. In a game they're favored to win. Let me look at this over under. I think you covered it, but 36 point over under, Dolphins favored by 1. They're playing in New England, but that like hard to watch game against Tennessee last week, like the fact that he almost hit this and that, like there, you know, we've talked about Tyler Huntley is going to take a little bit of time to be able to unlock Mike McDaniel's like offense, because it's awesome when it's clicking and they need to get that rolling. So I like Waddle to go over that. I think that line's way too low. I expect him to at least be in the 40s personally. All right, so if you guys want to come join our Discord, we have a killer community. It's so much fun. We're literally like around the clock hanging out, talking sports, getting into plays together. Moose had a good Thursday night football, and so did Jordy. But yeah, like we have a lot of fun just hanging out. But we also work together, and you know, work on plays together, talk plays together. And then we've got a section where everyone can post their slips, and we all like tail slips that we're, you know, excited about. But if you want to come join us, just go through the Patreon link in the description of the video. And once you sign up through Patreon, that just manages our Discord for us, our Discord subscriptions. So sign up there, and then just go into the settings, and then there's a connected app section. You just connect Discord. You can see on this little screenshot, like they just set it up for you. So you click connect and it'll log you in, and then you have our whole channel will be open to you in Discord. If you do that, make sure you hop in the community chat and let us know that you're new or that you're returning. Shout out to all the members who were gone through the summer but are back. It's really good to see all you guys. But if you are new, make sure you hop in the community chat, because we want to make sure that you understand how to get the most out of our Discord. We have extra analysts in our Discord and whatnot. And then go follow us on X. We're pretty active on here. So yeah, just at Backdoor FX, not FX. At Backdoor FS. And go follow Moose too. Moose is awesome. We're so happy to have him be a part of the team. He posts every day on all types of sports. So if you want an account to be just like getting daily picks for free, just go follow Moose and he will hook you up. So that's going to cover everything, guys. We're so pumped for this Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys don't mind giving us a like on the way out, we really appreciate all the support. It would be awesome to see that subscriber count get to 12,000 pretty soon here, but we can't thank you guys enough. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll catch you in the next video.
Good luck, guys.